All right, everybody, welcome. I'm going to turn down some volumes here, playing around with some different technologies, but thank you for being here. Thanks for joining. Oh, there's a bit of an echo, huh? Perfect. I got to turn down all the volume on all of my devices. As you can tell, I'm streaming in from this in 3 different devices, so I can show you different ways to do this. But today we're going to be talking about how to build a podcast that will actually pay you. This is an awesome opportunity for me to record and to teach you what I know about building podcasts. I've built 4 or 5 before. I currently have 2 that I run myself. And I want to just share with you guys what you can do, the easy steps that are practical to building your own podcast that will actually pay you. I'll walk you through step by step. This is kind of like a workshop. So sit back, take notes. If you've got tools, dual screens, maybe follow along. I'll go pretty slow, but I want you to be able to see how you can do this in less than 30 minutes. And let me just start off by telling you my podcast experience. I was a podcast consuming connoisseur, right? I love podcasts, and it's where I can get my fixes. Everyone watches movies when they want to get together and spend time and watch a really, really long out movie. And usually you only watch one movie at a time, right? You don't go watch a movie and then you watch another movie right after. That's typically the habit. But what we do is we watch TV shows, and we'll watch 2, 3, 4 at a time, unless we're Netflix binge watching and we watch an entire season in one sitting, right? But what we do is we consume things in smaller bits. And that's where podcasting became a great place for me, because I loved reading and I loved listening to books. But sometimes I didn't have 8 hours to listen to one of my favorite books. And instead, podcasts were giving me relevant, interesting, and new topics and content that I could consume while I was commuting, while I was on my walk with my dogs, while I was at the gym, wherever you consume and connect with your podcast. So I see quite a few people in here. We got Jennifer Leeds. Hi. Jason Curtis. Hey. Adam Bowman. Hey. And then for those who are going to be jumping on later, they will also get this. I am recording this, so not many people will just turn around and give you the recording. You usually have to ask for it, but I'm giving this information to you. So if you get knocked off, or if you can't finish the call for some reason, remember, this is less than 30 minutes, so it shouldn't take too much of your time. I can send you and provide you the recording, but please stick around. Your engagement's important to me, because there is going to be an opportunity to ask questions. I've got the chat function up, so as we're doing this, I'll be looking through the various comments and questions you guys have, and I'll be addressing those as we go. Jennifer first started out, says, do you want video participation? Jennifer, you're welcome to. Mostly I want to have comment participation, because the focus and feature of this recording will be what I'm about to show you. So feel free to show your awesome face. I appreciate it. Your profile picture is just fine too, but please be active in the comments section. So if you're listening and if you're participating, just give me a, hey, I'm here in the comments section. I'm looking forward to sharing this information with you. So I started a podcast 3 years ago. We decided for our marketing sense that this would be an easy way to create content and share it. And we were producing a lot of videos. We were producing a lot of information. And we thought we just need to get this information out there. I mean, have you ever thought to yourself, oh man, after this conversation, someone should have recorded that. That was gold. That was awesome. And I've said that so many times aloud, and I can't forgive myself for never just pressing the record button on my phone. So that's exactly what we did. Is we had no idea how to start a podcast. I did some research. There was a lot of information that just totally blew me away. Way too much information, like drinking from a fire hose, totally overwhelmed, didn't know what to do. So I just went ahead and started it by recording some audio and then converting it later. And I'm going to walk you through the easiest steps that I've learned over the past 2.5 years that have helped us develop a podcast into 20,000 listening audience members, and some monthly payments that come in from advertisements. So I'm going to teach you just how to do that. And it's a great way to leverage your content. Step 1, before we jump into anything, a lot of you are content producers or you're contributors, right? You're on social media. You've got, Jen's got her live with Jen. I know Jason does a lot of videos and he does a lot of posts and engagement. So imagine taking what you do on social media and converting that into content that can be produced on an audio level and so forth. I mentioned the movies versus TV show example where we can binge watch TV, but we don't necessarily binge watch movies unless you're in recent quarantine, right? So with that said, just realize that the shorter the content, the better. We produced a show that went about 45 minutes to an hour with every episode. The first few episodes were about 10 to 15 minutes long and so forth. But really what we were just doing is we were just recording our conversations. We took a small little microphone, like this microphone. This is my Apple earphones microphone. And we plugged it into our computer. We went into a quiet little closet of our house, and we sat around in a circle, and we took turns passing it around while we interviewed each other. That was literally my first podcast experience. And then it evolved into, okay, we listen to the microphone. You can't actually hear everything around you. And even if you do, it just sounds like rumblings. It's all good. So I'll teach you and I'll show you what we've done to make it successful and better over time. But listen, now is the time to produce content. And if you're going to produce it, don't feel like you have to have it perfect at the beginning. And that's my main concern, and my biggest advisement to you is don't feel like it has to be perfect. Okay, we're going to jump in. I'm going to be doing a lot of this, turning to the side, because I'm going to take you through my notes, and I'm going to take you through the various websites that I would show you to use, and we'll go step by step. And we're going to get this. I'm setting a timer. Right? We are at 10 after, so we are going to teach you how to do this in less than 30 minutes, which means I've got 21 minutes to show you. Easy peasy. I've built mine in 15 to 18 minutes before. Okay. And let me show you and advise you, and then I'll even work with you after this video so that you have a little bit more time and workshop information. So I'm going to share my screen over here. Boom, boom, boom. Awesome. You should all start to see my screen. Perfect. These are my windows. Okay, so we are going to start by, this is a place where I keep notes, and this is just Evernote. You can log into Evernote just like Google Docs or whatever. I use Evernote for quick stuff. It's got some cool capabilities, and I just like the way it feels. But Evernote, I put here how to build podcasts. So first, you just want to have a vision, a mission, or a purpose, right? I do what's called the Circle of Knowledge podcast. And the basis of the Circle of Knowledge podcast is to introduce professionals to the underlying concepts of books, principles, and principles. Learn how to spell, John. Principles through reviews, interviews, rants, and discussion, mastermind discussions. All right, pretty simple. It's my mission statement, it's what we provide, and it's how we do it. So that's what I do. Yours doesn't need to be that exciting. If you have any questions, or if you were wanting to get some feedback on this, I can do that at the end of this session. But in the meantime, let me just kind of plow through this. Okay. So once you have an idea of what you want to do, now it's time to create the podcast. My first initial advice to you is just record. I oftentimes, if you're looking at me in the screen, I will pull out my phone and I will get the Memos app out on my iPhone, and I will record a memo. That's as easy as it is for me. I'll record in a memo. Some of you guys have fancy other apps you can use. I don't know anything else other than the Apple product, so I apologize in advance, but anything that you can do to record audio or a voice, okay? That's a good place to start. And what I would do is I would go in and I would just record, hey, this is John Kovach with the Circle of Knowledge podcast. We provide you content from interviews, book discussions, and mastermind solution discussions or brainstormings that we teach about the knowledge that you can learn from books and other resources. Okay, that was a really rough, I haven't done that in a while. That was really rough. But essentially, you just want to get on there and do 30 seconds worth of an introduction. Just record yourself on any device, on any platform, just record yourself. And just create yourself making a mission statement of sorts, okay? About what the podcast is and what to expect. That's all I would say. And once you do that, now the balls are rolling. Now your wheels are turning, and let's go. The next step I would say is I want you to go to an app, and I'm just going to do this, called Anchor, ANCHOR.FM. Okay. You're going to go to anchor.fm, and you're going to log in, and I'm going to log out so that you can see the process here. Log out. Okay. So you're going to sign up for a free account, and it's going to take you. Why don't we just pretend to sign up for one? Okay. Sign up. So let's just pretend to make one here for a second. My name is John Kovach Jr. I'm going to use John at amplifiedminds.com, and I'm going to create a password. Boom. I am not a robot. Okay, following along, anchor.com, sign up, create your name. We can change names and stuff later, okay? All right, I'm going to save that. And then make your first episode. So Anchor is going to take you through the step process. Anchor is owned by Spotify and Spotify.com, and they have made it so simple for you to create a platform. Why I love Anchor versus all the other platforms. I know there's hundreds of other platforms out there, okay? Why I love Anchor, and I will get into that in a minute, but one of the reasons why is it makes it simple, it makes it easy, and anyone can do it. Anyone can follow this process. And look, they're just kind of simple and bold. So make your first episode. Let's go. Set up your podcast, distribute your podcast, monetization, and get listeners. So those are the steps that I'm going to save over here in my boom, boom, boom. All right. That didn't copy over well. So we're just going, that kind of looked cool. Yeah, we'll leave that. Okay. So back to Anchor, we're going to click on Let's Do It. It's going to take us into this podcast creating studio, right? And here what we're going to do is we're going to record, or we're going to upload that first audio piece you did, okay? I've got a bunch of audio that I will add, but essentially what you will do is you'll press record here, and you can record straight from Anchor. Now, Anchor is a mobile app, so I can actually do all of this from my phone. Okay, isn't that exciting? So if I download the anchor.fm app or just Anchor, you can actually do all of this from your phone. So it'd be even easier. So uploading files, uploading content's great. If you want to be more technical, if you want to use your laptop or a fancy microphone, which we'll get into, then go for it. But you're going to take your first piece of content, okay? You're going to upload it, or you can record, okay? I'm going to press record, and it's now recording an audio of me. Probably not, because it's plugged into my computer and I don't have a microphone set up to my desktop. I do to my laptop. Okay, and I'm going to go for about 15 seconds, and then I'm going to press stop. That's my awesome recording. And then also it's going to save that to my library, and I'm going to throw in some fancy transitions. They've got different sounds and transitions I like to use. I've kind of branded myself in using Onaip. Here it is right here. Okay, boom. Onaip, it's a fun little transition. And then I always finish my podcasts with the power down transition. Okay. So you're seeing this work. In the right section here, we're building our podcast in every segment. Over here on the left, we're adding functions, okay? I will save all my uploaded recordings to my library. Now, Anchor is a cool app because you can collaborate with other podcasters, and there's a messaging tab where you can bring people's messages, and they leave voice messages, right? We leave voice messages for each other. I've brought people's voice messages, saved them, and dragged them and put them in my show. So you can leave voice messages for people like, hey man, I love your show. This is so exciting. You're doing great. And when people have put me on their show, I brought them on their show and so forth. So it's a fun platform. It's easy to use. Okay. No questions here. Now we're going to just go to save episode. Okay. The episode needs a title. I'm just going to call it first episode. If you want something like really extraordinary or really grand, you can say inaugural launch. That's one of my new favorite words, inaugural launch. You can use like trailer, right? What's that called? The pilot. Okay. Or you can say starting with a bang. And we'll go all caps. Okay, where am I at time-wise? Whew. All right, this is exciting. You guys, we got 13 minutes to make this all happen, okay? And I'm going to put a description here. I'm going to say John is awesome, but not without his awesome network and friends. Boom. Okay, I'm going to say save as a draft, but you can publish it now. Okay, so it's going to take me back to the episode. Anchor's got its own little deal here, right? And when I go to edit my episode, there's a bunch of things I want to be aware of. Okay, first of all, let's look at the written copy. I just want to make sure that this is what everybody sees. Then the first line of my description, everyone's going to see that, and that's going to be what most people see on their devices, okay? You can schedule out these publishing dates. You can record everything, set it up, and then publish on, let's say you want to go live every Friday. You can do this in advance and then publish it out. These are just some things that help you. I use these tools to help me. Like I'll say, this is my first season, so I'm going to say season 1. And then I'm going to say episode 1, but you don't have to keep track of all that. Some of you have seen podcasts where it's like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. You don't have to do that. It kind of already does it for you. Plus the episodes that I listen to on podcasts, I never pay attention to the number. I never pay attention. One of my favorite whimsical podcasts is one called the Myths and Legends podcast. And they've got an episode number for everyone. But that's because they measure the growth based on Norse mythology and a bunch of other stuff. So anyways, but here's my favorite part, you guys. Upload new episode art, okay? So there's episode art that you can upload. This is where I want to get into how do you create episode art. I'm going to get into... let's see here. I'm going to go to my professional development folder, and then I'm just going to do this. I'm going to upload my headshot. Why? Because all of the best podcasts actually use faces and people rather than symbols and logos. Now, let me get into that a little bit more. So I just uploaded my famous mug here. Okay, cool. And then I'm gonna let people know that this is a clean content. I don't really swear much. We don't drop F-bombs. We don't talk about sex or anything on the show. But I want people to know it's clean because that helps it get into iTunes and Apple Play better. But they do monitor. So if you do say it's clean, but it's explicit content, they will flag you. And once you become explicit, you can never go back. Just know that, okay? That's one warning. I just want everyone to know, okay? But this is a full episode. You can deem this as a trailer, which we'll put it on your channel. You can create bonus materials as well, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and update that and watch what happens to my podcast, okay? Boom. My podcast is my mug with this in the first page. And I want people to know there's a dashboard inside of Anchor that I can use. All right, so as I go to my dashboard, you will see, okay, so I have to follow the steps to get to my dashboard. But let's just pretend for a minute. I'm going to log out of this beautiful podcast I just created, and I'm going to go into one that I have currently running, okay? And I'll tell you about all this stuff, but this is the dashboard, okay? So this is the circle of knowledge. We've got about 19,000 listeners. I've got our description here that I wrote out ourselves, which is what you do through the onboarding process, okay? And we've got links that I've uploaded and stuff here. Okay, here's some of my analytics. I haven't produced an episode for season 4 yet, but they're scheduled out. It tells us a little bit about where the majority of our people are, which is in the United States, California, Texas, blah, blah, blah. We got entrepreneurs all over the world listening to us. And then it shows us where we're getting it. Apple Podcasts is the most popular, Spotify is second, and then other. Let's talk about that while I pull something else up. Available on which platforms? Our podcast is available first on Anchor. It's its own platform. Breaker, Castbox, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Radio Public, Spotify, Stitcher, some that I don't even listen to, right? I literally listen to one place, and that's Apple Podcasts or iTunes, right? But Anchor distributes it for you. That's why I love Anchor, because Anchor does all the work for you. You produce the episode, and Anchor will go through the efforts of contacting each one of these platforms and creating your podcast. Let me show you how that works. So I go back to my dashboard, and after I have produced an episode, okay, we're at 8 minutes to go. Are you guys excited? I'm getting excited. Whew, this is fun. Nope, wrong one. Okay, that takes me to my podcast platform. And this is my profile, what people see if they log into Anchor or if they go to any one. But look, this is tied to all of these platforms. I can go and I can click on Apple Podcasts and it'll bring up a file. I could go to Spotify, and those are the two people usually like to see. But then people can stroll through and they can play your episodes. All right. So this is really fun. There's some really cool stuff that I can teach you more about it, but this is all about building it. Okay. And it takes you to, look at this, Apple Podcasts. There we go. Circle of Knowledge, Amplified Minds. Again, I suggest using a picture, not a logo. I plan to rebuild this for season 4, but it has all of our episodes. And look, we've got 4.5 star ratings, 20 ratings total. So that's kind of fun. All right. So moving on, and here it is on Spotify if anyone just wanted to see it. Okay. Same thing. All of our episodes are uploaded. Okay. If you need help making a free graphic, just go and type in Facebook posts in canva.com. Okay. So I go down here and I make canva.com. Or for some of you, you can just go over here, and I'm going to go to all my designs just so I can show you. I run several businesses, so I'm going to have to scroll through here for a second. But I can create a podcast channel at the same size of a Facebook post here on Canva. Canva is free. We love free. Okay, so here's my other podcast. It's called Next Gen You. It's the next generation tactics to becoming the version of yourself you want to be. So I've put my mug on here. I've put my logo and a couple other things. And that's just an easy Facebook post. No size is necessarily mandatory. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to exit out of that. For some of you worried about your sound quality and yada, 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 you can go to Amazon.com. And you can just look up Blue Yeti or podcast microphones. They're typically like $120, the maximum. We've got this one. And then if you look at my screen here, we've got the little blue snowball. I plug the snowball in just because it's quick and easy. But these all plug into your computer, and they really trap the sound very, very well. So there you go. There's some information about that. But remember, what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a podcast that's going to reach people and get you paid. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Anchor, and I'm going to show you something called the Money tab. You guys see this? The Money tab? Okay, so I'm going to click on the Money tab. After my episode's created, after my channel's created, and by the way, don't feel pressured to publish at all until you've done it, but the Money channel, this is where you get paid. Anchor will pay you money, okay, look at this, will pay you money to build advertisements. And here are the current active advertisements they've sent me. And because I'm not really active right now, my season 4 hasn't started, I only have one option. But there'll be Anchor, there'll be Square.com, there'll be a couple other people that are coming into Anchor's platform and asking for people to spend like thousands of dollars of budget, okay? And so this doesn't represent how much we've made overall, and either is these numbers. I'll explain that in a minute. But essentially, you can go in here and you can create and record within the app, all within the website or the app, your own advertisement. For example, like this. They say, here, record one for Anchor. Anchor is active, okay? And I click on Anchor. Oh, it didn't do it. But here are the ones that I've done before. We've done charity promotions. We've done Tiny Leaps, Big Changes, Spotify, Anchor, the Black Tux, Squarespace, Anchor. These are all advertisements we've done before. But the best part about it is they will give you a script that you can read for word by word and do it. Amazing, right? Amazing. So that is where I would start, you guys. And then once you've recorded those, if you go back to the episode builder, so if I go new episode, okay, and I add some, let's just take my library, for example. I'm going to just take the most recent one and I'm going to add it. Okay. Look at this. They create a segment here for you. I just click on that and they'll add a sponsorment segment. They will add my advertisement into my podcast and publish it to all of the platforms that I distribute to. Isn't that awesome? So now I'm getting paid from Voxer. I'm getting paid from Apple Podcasts, from Spotify. I'm getting paid from all of those sections. Okay, with 3 minutes left, this is exciting. I'm going to slow down and take a break. No, there's no time to take a break. We got to do this. Yeah, I've been talking all day, so this has been good. So once you do that, you'll publish your episode, right? And yes, I want to leave. And your episode will look something like this. Da-da-da-da. Okay, awesome. Looks like we got a couple people jumping in, a couple people jumping out. This is great. So once you're in here and once you view your public profile, oh, that's not it. Your episode will look like this. Okay, I'm going to just, this is the most recent one. This is my favorite one. Tara Garrison, she's awesome. And you can play it and it is great. Okay. One of my favorite things, I'm going to switch gears here for just a second. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to look at you and I'm going to pull up my second device and I'm going to share content and I'm going to share my screen to Zoom. Start broadcast. So you guys should be seeing my phone right now. And I'm going to go over here to the podcasts. Okay. You see these podcasts? Most of them have a famous mug. Most of them have a little symbol on them, but they just have some really clean things that you can do and build on canva.com. Okay. So all of these, there's Rachel Hollis. There's some really good people. All right. I'm going to go back to this, stop broadcasting, sharing. So that's how you build a podcast and get paid within 30 minutes. Now, I just briefed over the information. If you really want help, if you really want to get into the weeds of understanding the you know, how to build it, how to create your content, you know, how you should structure it, I can help you with all of that, and I'll set that up for another appointment. If you want all of this done for you, I'm willing to do that. Obviously, I don't do this for free. I will do this to help a friend, and I'll give you a massive discount. But I do this to help people build their podcast and get it done quickly so that they have a podcast done. We could literally have your podcast done by the end of the day with your content, and I am really good at going on Canva, whipping up some really cool graphics that you can use. And remember, you evolve, right? My graphic has changed over time. So as we create this, we can have a really, really great podcast start. But this is where I always start. Okay, let's review. I'm gonna go back to my notes. You need to have a mission, purpose, or vision. I'm gonna take my phone today. Here's my challenge to you. I'm gonna open up the Memos app, okay, or a audio recording app. I'm going to press record and I'm going to talk and I'm going to give my episode some content, some meaning, some depth, right? And in this, I'm going to share people my daily stuff. I'm going to press end record. I'm going to upload that to Anchor and I'm going to produce an episode. That's it. It's so simple, you guys. Now, if you want to get technical, and you want to add music, you want to add an intro, you want to add all kinds of stuff, I can help you do that. But first, don't get ahead of yourself. Just record. Now, here's a great example. My good friend Jennifer, who's listening in today and watching, Jennifer recorded on her Facebook Live session yesterday, and that is a great place to go and get your Facebook, your first episode or content to share on your podcast. Let me show you how. I'm extending the limit because though this call will be over an hour or over 30 minutes, the time limit in which I'm showing you how to build your podcast and give you any information will be within 30 minutes because we didn't start till 11 after. So just sharing with you what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're going to bring this back up. I'm going to open this again. Okay. I'm going to go to facebook.com. Hopefully nothing embarrassing shows up like memories of me as a child, right? Okay, you're watching, Facebook's pulling up, and thank goodness for fast internet. Look at this. Isn't this awesome? So as I'm pulling this up, I can go to one of my pages, right? And Jennifer, this would be for you. Jason, this would be for you. Anyone listening, this would be for you. You're going to go to your page, and because you go to your page because you're the owner of your content. And because you're the owner of your content, here's today's episode of the Live Hour with John. I can click these three dots. Oh, first I want to open it up. I'm so sorry. Taking one step at a time, you guys. you're going to want to open up that broadcast. And then you go over here to this top corner, right? And you click on the three dots and you can download the video. You hear me? You can download the video. And once you download the video, save it somewhere where you can access it. I have a folder specific to videos, and then you can strip the audio, okay? There's some really, really cool ways you can do that. When you strip audio, I like using Zoom to record a lot of my live streams because Zoom will separate the files. It'll create a video file and an audio file for you. Most programs will, but if you're pulling it straight from Facebook, you're gonna have to go and get a audio stripping software, okay? Now, again, I only work if it's cheap or free. My favorite is free 99. So I'm gonna go to Google here and I'm gonna research audio stripping. That could be a really bad thing to Google. Software, free, okay? And there's a couple options here. I sometimes use GarageBand on my Apple devices, okay? There's a few options here. There's even YouTube videos on how to do this, okay? But first of all, you're gonna wanna have free audio remover, any video, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Now I can take that video from Facebook, click on it, I can download it, and once it downloads, I will drop it into this Google thing right there. Boom. Free download. Cool. There you go. So that's what you can do to strip the audio. Now, some of you are getting a little technical and maybe you want to use the audio, the content from the audio to write your bio or write your stuff, okay? A free resource that I like to use to strip and transcribe my content is a website called otter.ai. Okay, we've gone 4 minutes. We've got 6 minutes left in the actual 30 minutes of discussion, okay? But let's look at this. So otter.ai, I can upload now my audio file and it will transcribe automatically everything that was said in my audio recording. For example, this was, okay, here's a bunch of ones, but motivational speech. Here's my 3-minute motivational speech transcribed. See this? Speaker. Guys, at the beginning, you were an awesome audience who was going to bring the energy to very last speaker just today. And then it goes in and takes all that content and it gives you information. It even tells you if it's a different person speaking. It tells you and shows you what that is. It logs their time. It's an awesome thing. So this is a free place where you can grab a bunch of your content. If you wanted to do a trailer or some sort of intro to your podcast, okay, what I would do is I would record what you want to say. I would upload that to Otter, and then I would take that and I would literally copy and paste, and then, you know, make sure it's good copy, but I would copy and paste into Anchor when I'm setting up my profile. So by the way, in Anchor, I can edit my profile at any time. I just told you that I'm going to update my Anchor logo and stuff. By the way, if you don't want the Anchor logo in your logo, then you just click this button. Okay, cool. Just little side notes. All right, I hope I didn't go too fast. Hope I didn't lose anybody, but this is where we're at, okay? So I got all my information. I can include a custom, and I probably should have started with this, but I skipped over it. So I have a custom URL from Anchor. It's anchor.fm/circle of knowledge. These are my colors, my branding. I have a website associated, the name of my podcast, okay, and then an email to reach me at. I've filled this information out so people can find me and reach me, and then I can add voice messages and so forth. There's some advanced stuff here too, just telling your channel that you're clean and so forth, okay? So there you go. There's some really good stuff, but I advise you that you can build this in 30 minutes or less by going to anchor.fm. And I just showed you that you can do this and create a simple graphic just in Canva for free that will help you. You can also do this by ordering a simple microphone. I told you my story though. You can do it from here as well. Half of my podcast episodes I'm using from my recording devices like my earphones and so forth. Okay, awesome. And then I go back into Anchor, I create my channel, and then I can just produce episodes from within the app. And remember what we were doing here? We were going to new episode, and I can do it all from in here. And then when I save that episode, it will create the place where I can launch it. If you use music or anything, you might want to cite that. You might want to add that to your copy, but it's really simple and really easy. So with 3 minutes left in the entire hour, I want to know what questions you have. This is an awesome opportunity for us to connect, and I want to know what questions you have. By the way, as we close out as well, I will do all of this for you. It will take me less than 30 minutes to an hour to do it all for you. I will do it for $150. That's it. $150 to help you do all of this. I'm just going to ask a few things from you. I'm going to need your information, website, email, just some information. We might even do it over the phone. Okay, I could probably do this over a Zoom call. And for $150, if you want me to do it all for you, I'll even make your graphic. I'll even go in there and create a cool graphic that you can use and distribute. And you and I together will make your first episode. Now, don't be shy. Don't be camera shy or microphone shy. You just want to get up there and put it in because it's so, so simple. And then I will help you make your first advertisement. When you've made a podcast and you've done it through Anchor, it's up to you to distribute. All you have to do is go find other podcast channels and podcast groups exclusive on Facebook and go in there, and people are asking for you to share your podcast. You drop your link in there and you gain followers. I go on Facebook all the time, and periodically I will drop my link and say, hey, if you wanted to listen on the road, here you go. And that's how we casually get people. We've been making on an average of, and let me stop sharing here. We've been making an average of $50 to $100 a month on advertisements per advertisement when we're active in our seasons. So there you go. There's some really, really good stuff. There's some good information. I'm going to read one of these comments. Jennifer says, I have invested a lot already on unemployment, LOL. I'd be willing to get some help. However, I have to consider the investment too. I'd love to learn how. Ultimately, I'm so eager to have enough ROI to be able to pay someone else to deal with the technical sides of things. Totally get it. I love it. And I totally get that. And you know what we could do, Jennifer, is we could help you build your podcast, and then we could visit payment and say, okay, was it worth it? And if it was worth it, then we'll do that. If it wasn't worth it, then you pay me what it's worth, right? That's kind of what we can go at. But I know that this works. And like I said, I was making, once we had, not even 8,000 audience members, we were making, $25 a month or something off advertisements. Let me tell you how you make the most money. Okay. We were producing an episode once a week, and we were very inconsistent. We were producing every Friday and sometimes every other Friday. And that doesn't get you paid the millions, right? But if you want to get a lot of income and do it naturally, produce an episode a day and do it within the time frame of 10 to 15 minutes maximum. Because then they're quick, people can chew them up, they can eat them up, and then you can put those advertisements in there so that people can have them. And the advertisements are good. Like, who doesn't want to know about free ways to make podcasts? Who doesn't want to know about Spotify, which is a great place to listen to your music? So just know that it's a really, really good technological system. Technology and finances blow my mind, like a spin out. Love it. I can understand that. I'd like more of a conversation. Cool, let's talk. And then Jason says, woohoo, let's make a deal. Awesome. Any other questions or comments about this process? Okay. All right. Now's your chance. But yes, how to make a podcast. It's so easy. It's so simple. I've made a dozen of them. Okay, not a dozen. I've made 4. But we actively are working with 2. I just made one today, apparently called John Kovacs Jr. Maybe it should be the John Show. I don't know. But whatever it is, I can help you do it, and it's really, really easy. Take this video and just walk through those steps, log into Anchor, and it will teach you everything you need to know. But John, the sound quality, I need good equipment. No, you don't. I started with this. That's it. I started with this. That's as easy as it is. What we're talking about is the difference between not getting your voice out there, not sharing your message, not including your mission. And I should go back to my notes as I say this, not having your vision, your mission, or your purpose out there. One of the best ways to produce a content-based podcast, pick up a book, read a line out of it, talk more about it. Boom, you're done. That's it. That's the best way to make a content podcast, because people want to listen to what you think or what you say or what you share. Okay, resources. Don't get overwhelmed by the process. Paralysis of the analysis, or analysis of the paralysis, whatever it's called, that will destroy you. It will keep you from actually getting your stuff out there. But what will actually help you is getting it out there and practicing and making mistakes. Go back to the circle of knowledge and listen to our first episode. It's about Relentless, the book Relentless by Tim S. Grover. Okay. I'm not sharing my screen. I'm looking at it as if I'm looking at you, like, look at it, you guys. Our first episode was 14 minutes long, and it was about Relentless, the book by Tim S. Grover. And it's a good discussion, but the quality, the actual like content, I mean, it's hard to hear. It's not that great. But it got us paid, and it did really good things, and people still talk about it today. And we talk about it. We reference back to it. It's a blog post for us and so forth. So there you go. Another question came in, says, no, not here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Let's schedule. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll schedule a time to chat. Boom, says Jason. Simple. And then I have my book. Yay. Jennifer, that's awesome. Start with that. Page by page, principle by principle, chapter by chapter. That's where you start. You've already got your entire podcast lined out. I actually did it the reverse. So I recorded 30 episodes of podcasting on my other podcast. And on that, I created just basically a structure of how I wanted my book. Now, I didn't know exactly what I was going to say. I just kind of had the idea. And then I used my content and transcribed it through that free transcribing service called otter.ai. And then I wrote my book. That was it. So my audio wrote my book instead of me writing my book and then turning it into an audiobook. My audiobook wrote my book for me. And that's what I did through my podcast. So there you go. That's a really good starting point. Great. Any other questions? All right. If you want to get in touch with me and you want to talk to me privately, just send me a direct message on Facebook, or leave me a note here in the comment section, and I will set up a comment with you. There is no pressure, you guys. I said, I'll charge you $150 to do this all for you right now, right here. Don't feel pressured. Like, this is me just sharing with you a really, really great opportunity to learn how to build a podcast. I might do this again. I might have my structure a little bit easier, follow through system. I rather did that than show you a slideshow, because too many people use slideshows and it's like, okay, well, show me how to really do it. So I just wanted to walk you through the actual steps. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for listening in, tuning in. For those of you just watching the replay, reach out to me through a direct message and we can talk about your podcast and how it can leverage your professionalism, how you can get your word out there, and how you can use a podcast to build your business marketing system. Okay? Love you all. This is a brief and honest testimony of how you can build a podcast that will get you paid. Okay. Till next time, appreciate you. Love you all.